So far, we have seen how to design your app, how to create workflow, and how to manage your data, but we have not discussed responsive design yet. And yet, it is a very important subject. When you are designing your app, you need to make sure it will display correctly on all sizes of screen, from the smallest phone, which is 320 pixels, to the largest screens. So in order to check that your app is displaying correctly on most screens, there is a very useful tab called the responsive tab, so it's here, and you can click on it and you can check if your app is displaying correctly by doing this. So you can check like if it works, if it displays correctly on a big screen and on a super small screen. And so yeah, that's it. So this tab is very useful to check how it displays, and it is also very useful to like fix some responsive mistakes. But I'm going to tell you a few rules you need to follow if you don't want to spend hours in the responsive tab, because this responsive tab is cool to check if everything is okay, but it is really not the place where you should decide your responsiveness. So I'll teach you how to make sure from the beginning of your building that your app is going to display correctly. I'm going to create a new page so I can show you how to make sure your app will be correctly responsive. So when you create a new page, you should check what is the width and the height. My first advice is to choose a page width of 960 pixels. You can any size would work, but this size will make your job much easier because it is very easily dividable. If you have a 1-column app, it will be nicely responsive. If you have a 2-column app, if you have a 3-column app, it is a number which is very easily dividable by 1, 2, 3, and so your work will be super easy. My second advice is, as soon as you create a new app, is to go in grid and borders and to choose to show the grid and to choose a step of 20. And you can choose really any color. If you prefer to work with a pink grid, whatever works for you. Show horizontal lines as well. So it is nice because it will really allow you to know the size of everything on your page. I also advise you to choose snap to edges and grid. What does it mean? It means that whenever you're going to put something on the grid, it will automatically stick to your grid. Like you see, it is automatically telling me, okay, you're on the right place in the grid. It sticks automatically. So it's very, very nice because it will it's very nice. It will allow you to waste less time. So these are my favorite settings. I'm going to put that to blue because I prefer blue. So that's it. So this is a very important advice. 960 for your page and add grids. Bubble, as you know, is a drag and drop tool. So it is really great because it allows you to be super creative and do whatever you want design-wise. But it also has drawbacks because if you do whatever you want without following the rules I'm going to tell you about, your app or landing page or whatever you're building won't be responsive, and it won't be usable. So you should create your own layout, and I'm going to show you how to do it. So in order to create your layout, you need to use groups. We are going to build first a one-column layout. So let's add a group on our page. Let's make sure it's 960 here. Okay, and let's center it. Okay, let's make sure it is aligned with the grid. To create a layout, you will need to create containers, and groups will be your containers. So you need to create an outside group, which is going to be here, the size of your page. Let's choose a color. Let's choose a color so we are not confused. Okay, let's choose like pink, but let's make it a little bit transparent so we can still see the grid. Okay, so this will be an external group. So we need to make a few changes in these parameters to make sure it will do what we want. So we don't want to choose this, because if we make this element fixed width, obviously it won't be able to stretch or to be smaller, so it won't be responsive. For minimum width here, we want to put 33. Why? Because our page width is 960 and the smallest screen size is 320, and it is a third of 960. So we want to choose this. And the next parameter, it is apply a max width when the page is stretched. So you want to check this, and the size is really going to be up to you. But 100, between 100 and 150 is a good choice. And basically, it means that it will allow your app to stretch to a maximum. So if you choose 100, this group, the maximum size of this group will be 960. And if you choose to put more, it will allow this group to stretch. So it can be useful for super large screen, because maybe it will be weird if you have like super wide white blocks on the left and the right of your screen. So yeah. So basically, let's put like 120, for example. If you don't want to apply max width, for example, if you want your header to take all the width of your page, you can just uncheck it. But if you want to stay within a block, you can check it. Okay, so let's call it container 1. So basically, this will be our container. And now we need to create a second group that will contain our contents. So let's click on group and let's draw a second group. And here, what I suggest you is to create some like a padding between this inside group and the container. So like just make sure it is, you can see here, 20 pixels. Check that it's 20 pixels everywhere. Okay, here we have 24 and here 25, so we need to make sure it is 20 everywhere. Okay, great. So now let's call it inside 1. Let's change the color again. It's really just for you to understand well what I'm doing, but you don't, it's like not necessary at all, of course. Okay, so now you have an inside group, and this group is going to contain your text or your images. Let's put text inside this. So let's say we have a title here. So maybe for our first column, as it is a one column only, maybe we want the title to be centered and to be a little bit bigger. Okay, let's make it centered. And what I recommend you is for your text to be also with a 20 pixels margin on everywhere, like right, left. Okay, great. And let's also put a button. Like, let's imagine it's a CTA. Sign in, for example. And let's center it. Okay, great. So what should you do for your text? So for this element, my recommendation is to choose a minimum width of 20. Like for most inside elements you'll put in your inside container, 20 is a good choice. And here you can choose like whatever figure you've already chosen. And for a button, my recommendation is to let it be fixed width, because like it is a small element and you can choose for it to be always the same size, and it will be good. Let's check if our one column design is responsive. Oh great, it seems good. So as you can see, it can go all the way from here to a super small screen, and it works perfectly. Now that we have done a one column design, I'd like to show you how to do a two column design to make sure that you really understand how it works. So the start is really the same. You also need to create containers, but you need to create two containers, because you want two columns. So your containers should be 480 pixels wide, because obviously if you divide 960 by 2, you have 480. So you can place them, this one at the left, you can stick it to the other design. Let's make it a different color so you are not confused. Okay, let's choose a blue and let's make it transparent. Okay, great. So this is gonna be our outside container, and same as here, we want also to create an inside group. So let's take group, and very important, we always want our 20 pixels padding to make sure everything is super aligned. Let's make sure everything is 20 pixels. You can see everything is super aligned. Great. Let's make it a little bit darker so you can see the difference between the groups. Okay, nice. Perfect. So we need to change the parameters for the outside container. So let's call it container 2, so everything is super clear. So here, for minimum width, we are going to choose 66. And why? Because I'm going to write it down. If you do 320, so this is the smallest screen size, and you divide it by 480, it equals something like this. So that's why you want this container to be 66 for minimum width, because you want it to reach the minimum width of 320 pixels. Let's apply also the same max width as here. Here we choose 120, so let's continue. Let's stick with it. 120, perfect. And for the inside here, we'll keep it 20%, and here we'll keep it this way. Perfect. And let's add some text and some subtext, so we can see if it works. So let's make sure it sticks. Okay, so make sure your text element takes all the width of your inside container. So let's call it inside 2. Okay, great. So make sure your text really goes all the way up there, but keep a padding everywhere. Okay, we don't have the right padding here. Okay, great. So this is going to be the title, and let's also add a subtitle. Okay. Let's say it's going to be here, and let's check. Okay, everything is perfect. And if it's a long text, maybe we want it to go all the way down. Let's take some lorem ipsum to check. So lorem ipsum, of course, is this random text, and let's paste it to check if we did it good. It's a little bit slow, sorry. Okay. Let's paste our text. Great. Perfect. One. Great. And as for our text element, we want them to be, okay, 20 and 20. Perfect. And we want to copy, so you can click on your main group container tool, like the outside group, and copy and paste it by doing Command C, Command V, or Ctrl-C, Ctrl-V, and you can just put it next to it. Let's change the title. Sorry. Let's change this subtitle 2, and let's check what it looks like in the responsive tab. So in the smallest size, it looks very good, great job. So everything is very aligned, and it looks good. And let's see what it does if it's in the biggest size. So as you can see, there is a small issue here. The two groups are migrating away one from each other, and it would be a problem on a very large screen. Like they would be super far away. So I'll show you how to fix this. So in order to fix this, okay, let's call this one container 3, sorry. I forgot to name it, so this is not a good thing. Okay, group container 3. So yeah, in order to fix the problem I just show you, you need to select both of these groups, and you need to group them. And so I just selected them too, and group these elements into a group. And this group, like the external group grouping the two, will need to have the same parameters as the first group, so 33 and 120. So let's do this. So group container parents, let's call it that way. Okay, and so we want it to have 33 and to be 120. And let's check if it fixed our problem. Yes, you see, they both have merged and they are now stuck together. And let's see if it's still good for all sizes. Great, perfect. So it's perfect. I'd like to show you how to include an image and make sure it's responsive. You'll see it's pretty simple and very similar to what we did with text, but still I want to show it to you. So let's delete our text elements and let's choose image and let's drop it inside the group. Don't mind like the size for now, we'll resize it when the image is uploaded. So let's double click on image and let's click on upload and we'll choose the image. Okay, great. It can take quite some time to upload if your internet connection is a bit slow. Okay, so now that your image is uploaded, we are going to make sure it has the right size. So we want it to be the same as the text. So to take the full container without a 20 pixel padding. So let's resize it and make sure it is the same everywhere. So let's check. Perfect, so we have 20 pixels everywhere, and as you can see, the image has automatically been resized and the proportions has not been changed. Let's see if it looks good on mobile too. Need to wait a little bit. As you can see, it didn't change the look of the image, so it only took the center proportion, the center of it. If you want your image to stay the same proportions, you need to check a box. So double click on your image and you can choose keep element proportions as the image is resized. And you'll see what it's going to do. So you see, if you want your image to stay like the same proportions and to not cut the inside, you can choose to this box. But if you prefer, yes, the design to be like only the center part and to be the same size as the other blocks, you can just uncheck it and it is this way. So these are two options and you can really like select what you prefer. So that's it. That was my basic tips to make sure your app is responsive. Make sure to follow them because it will save you a lot of time. And I will include some more tips below, in the text below. So if you have more complex situations, you will also be able to navigate those.